Okay, well, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, in Asheville, and welcome once again to your show, What's Up AVL, here on WRES Radio 100.7 FM. This is a radio show discussing projects and initiatives at the City of Asheville. I'm your host for the last time, Ricardo Basurto, Communication Specialist here at the City of Asheville. Today we are accompanied by my colleague and friend, future host, Sam Parada. And for our guest for today's show, Bridget Herring. She's the director of the Sustainability Department at the city. Welcome, Bridget. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Bridget Herring, Sustainability Director, and work to help implement some of the climate initiatives that City Council has passed over the years.
Excellent. And well, welcome for the very first time, Sam. Do you want to say hi and present yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for having me, and I'll be your host starting the next show. I'm also a communication specialist with the City of Asheville, and thank you, Ricardo, for handing the torch to me.
Happy to do so. It's always a pleasure to be here. The team in WRS is fantastic, and certainly trying to reach out to the community is indispensable. Today, we're going to try to talk about like something that is crucial for our daily life and for our future, which is sustainability. So let's get into that thing, and then a little bit about like one specific project, which is like the solar panels program. But before doing that, let's start with the basics. Overall, what the sustainability department do?
Yeah, so we, as I said earlier, implement the goals that Council has set in terms of sustainability, and that ranges from 100% renewable energy to carbon reductions for our government operations, as well as we have a food policy action plan, a climate emergency, and a climate resilience assessment, among other initiatives.
Yeah, I know like in the department there's like a climate, energy, food. Those are three main divisions, right? That sounds like a lot to do on the department.
It is, and what we work to do is embed sustainability in all aspects of our government operations, and help set our community up for success and being able to thrive through the face of climate change.
Yeah.
So the office was just created in 2008, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
How has it changed for the past 14 years?
So I think the work has evolved as our understanding of sustainability and how systems are connected have evolved. So when the office started, we were basically focused on mitigating the impacts of climate. So that means trying to decrease our impact on our environment to try and reduce, the changing climate. But now we know we're living through climate change, and so we have to keep doing those mitigation efforts, but we're also figuring out what strategies we can deploy that adapt to our changing climate that we're living in now.
You mentioned something really great before we started. You gave me an analogy on how your work evolves over time if you want to go over the endlessness of your current daily work life.
Sure. Climate change is obviously something that we've been dealing with for quite some time, and I don't see that challenge ending anytime soon. So I think that, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, and I think of it like a relay race. There's been an amazing, incredible movement and work done by many individuals before me, and I've taken the baton from them, and I'll run as far and as fast as I can to do what I can, but the work won't be done with me. I know that, and I'll pass it off to someone else who will do great work as well.
Yeah, and you were saying also like not only talking about like running fast, but running together with many people alongside with you. I know that there's community partners for the department, like the Asheville Buncombe Food Policy Council, Asheville Greenworks, Bondfield Cities, the Green Belt Alliance. I mean, how is the collaboration with these partners? What are the projects that they're working together? How it is like that gets done?
Right. So I think a lot of people who are involved in this work maybe share, frustration with the limitations of what we're able to do in the private sector here in North Carolina. And so we know that we have control over government operations, and that's what our internal staff focuses on. But we would know that, like, to get to these goals together, everybody has to be bought in, and that means it has to be community driven by solutions. And so we partner with local nonprofits to help do that work in community.
Cool. And I assume that that's a great way to get like the community engaged and to at the same time like educate the people on the activities that they can do, and at the same time like develop like strategies that the government can oversee. Am I right? Or no?
Right. I mean, I think as, you know, government staff, we know our structure, which can be really hard to understand when you don't live and work in it, and it's hard to make change. And so I think, you know, change has to come within with our staff to make these changes and lead by example. And I think the same is reflective of our community. Like, community has to decide what strategies are going to work for them. It's not going to look the same for every business, every family. And so those solutions have to come from the community.
Is there anything specific you would like the people to know about the sustainability department?
Just that we're here. We're here as a resource. We're working hard. And yeah.
And well, following up on that, like something that is like really important for the city in general. I mean, I'm kind of biased because that's what our department does. But one of the crucial activities for the City of Asheville is engaging with the community. How can the citizens of Asheville, they can engage with the activities of the department? There's program specifics, or there's campaigns. How they can do that?
Yeah, so one way just to stay connected on what we're doing is we have a quarterly newsletter. If anyone goes to the sustainability landing page on our website, you see that you can sign up for that, and that will give you a quarterly update on like what we're doing, opportunities with our community partners, and other things that we're seeing shifting in the landscape across the state and at the national level. There's also a local resources page on there as well that can connect you to some of these local organizations that we're working with. You know, the Blue Horizons Project is offering some weatherization services, looking to provide some solar for some of our low and moderate income households. You know, we have a community garden program through Bountiful Cities, pollinators and Adopt a Spot, and, you know, some composting workshops through Asheville Greenworks. So there's a lot of, and there's more organizations than just that, but that's just a little taste.
Great. So you hear it. Please, if you are interested in seeing the topics and the activities that the City of Asheville is doing regarding sustainability, go to the page on the webpage of the City of Asheville, the Sustainability Department, and in About Us section, there will be a sign up for quarterly sustainability newsletter. So you just register with your email or with your text, and you will have in like notifications. The same way as we always do, please, we encourage you to sign up for AVL alerts. This is an emergency and non-emergency notification system that enables the City of Asheville to provide you with information that you want to receive with communication measures that you choose. So please register both for the AVL alerts, that's for your security and for your information, and register for the sustainability newsletter.
So now that you touched upon the many things that your department does, can we talk a little bit more about solar panels?
Sure.
So tell me more about the project, what you're doing, and what the benefits and the goal for the project is.
So I believe you're referring to our Solar on Public Facilities project,
Yes.
Which is a joint initiative with Buncombe County, in which we partnered with Buncombe County, Asheville City Schools, Buncombe County Schools, AB Tech, to issue one joint solicitation or proposal for a contractor to install solar on various different public facilities across the county. I believe the total package has 45 sites, and it has like an aggregated demand or 7 megawatts of clean energy. So like that's the equivalent of like a small utility scale solar farm, just to give people
Wow.
a taste of the size. The city has 4 projects that are involved in that, and that's getting solar on the Burton Street Community Center, the Linwood Crump Shiloh Community Center, Fire Station 10, and Fire Station 11.
I'm certain the community centers will be very happy to participate and get a taste of what solar energy can do for us. I also see here that the City of Asheville has a goal to power all municipal operations with renewable energy by the year 2030. What are we doing about it, and how are we moving towards that goal?
Right, so this project that I just spoke of is one of the big initiatives. So when we adopted that goal, we didn't have any on-site solar or any contracts for procuring renewable energy. So we were starting at 0. And so since that time, in addition to the 4 facilities I mentioned, we also installed solar at the Asheville Art Transit Station down on Cox Avenue. And then it will also be incorporated in the 2 new capital projects we have going on, which is the Broadway Public Safety Station and the expansion of the Wesley Grant Recreation Center in the Southside neighborhood. So that's pretty exciting to see us go from 0 to
a lot.
those sites. But there's still no shortage of work to do as well. So always looking at other opportunities to look at where else we can generate this from.
Of course. And I assume, the City of Asheville then and Buncombe County, we're doing this together, and they're trying to make sure, all public operation, all municipal operations are done through, renewable energy. But at the same time, we can also encourage the public to privately, they invest on solar panels as well, right, for their own use?
Right, and one of the things we did there was we partnered with the Greenbuilt Alliance to do a Solarize campaign, which is basically like a bulk purchasing campaign. I think we have a case study that came out in one of our newsletters. If people want to read the details, but I think that was a number of homeowners that came together, and the more people who participated, the cheaper the price, and that ended up having 1.5 megawatts.
Whoa.
So that was pretty successful, and just shows how much of an appetite there is for this in our community as well.
I didn't see that news in particular, but can you tell us a little more about it? Usually, how long did it take from getting all the people interested or participating in the bulk and getting the installation? Because probably that will give us a reference. So, if we did this in this amount of period this time, maybe we can do it again, larger or faster, and we can start to getting more and more private energy generated by renewable energy or solar energy. Yeah.
Right. So Solarize campaigns, the thought process behind them is that they're kind of a short-term, limited option to try and generate, buzz and help people move through the decision-making process kind of quickly. So when we first adopted this goal, we actually engaged with the consultant to figure out how we were going to reach them, and they recommended doing a Solarize campaign once every 3 years, just to give people a little sense of how often we roll this out. The program took probably 2 years from start to finish.
Cool.
And again, was great because it provided people with some more education resources. So we did some financing workshops to help people break down and understand the proposals that they were receiving and what the financing options meant and how to figure out which the best one was for them. And then also we were able to get some funding to do like I said, a low moderate income program. So there were some subsidized systems so that we could really make this more inclusive and not just make it a premium product, because we won't get to our goal if it remains a premium product for everyone.
Of course, no, we don't want to increase the inequality bridge. We want to close the gap, right? Cool.
Right.
I love that you're teaching the community and offering these tools to just for them to learn about renewable energy, and it just shows again how much work the department has to do and how endless it seems to be. I wish it was as easy as just putting panels on all rooftops and be done with it, but I'm certain there's a lot more going on that subject.
There is, and I would be remiss if I didn't say that we still believe in an energy efficiency approach first. So it's really important both for our operations and for our community to be reducing our use, reducing those costs to our residents, as well as our operations, so that we need less solar energy to put on those buildings.
Great. I know the city has this master plan with a long-term projections. How do you envision the city in the upcoming years? In terms of you're trying to have the city be fully reliant on renewable energy. How do you see that process going?
The process, I think, is slow. Probably not as fast as most people want to move, but when you're trying to make these big shifts, it's important that you build a really solid foundation. And part of building that foundation is going to be working to expand our options for how we purchase renewable energy. Unfortunately, we don't have enough rooftop space for it all just to be installed on our buildings. We're going to have to augment that further, and we're also going to have to delve in and learn about some new technologies as well.
And I'm certain there's new groundbreaking technology coming out all the time. How is it to keep up with all the new stuff just popping up everywhere?
I mean, that's a learning process as well. And just an example of that is the solar panels themselves are becoming so much more efficient. And if anybody's done business with the government, they know the way we buy things is a really slow process. We have to go out to bid, select a vendor, go through a contracting process. And so just in this most recent project, we saw the panels change in efficiency 3 times from when we spec'd them and bid them out to what we actually installed on the roofs. And so that industry is moving really rapidly, and we've learned a lot of lessons about how we need to keep up and be a little bit more agile as we're contracting in that process.
That's great to know, I think, because sometimes we are so caught up into the context or into the idea of like, oh, it is so expensive to do it. It's like there's really heavy. It requires a really solid structure to put it in, and sometimes technology makes them like lighter or more efficient. So it's like you can't rely a lot on those, and these many myths of like, well, you can't use those in the winter, or they actually not enough to power like your house, or like, well, there's a lot of myths that kind of maybe were real at some point, but now technology has advanced, or they were just like always false and we kind of never knew, right? So there's a lot also to know and understand better about like these technologies and how they're improving.
Right, and it's just also understanding how those technologies can best be deployed in our local environment. It's really important, with Asheville being hilly, it's our topography as well as our weather has an impact on how these systems operate. And so as we increase our understanding, we're able to find the best technology fits for these as well.
That's so cool. I was checking here on the page, because I think that what we have to do is like let the people understand what we're doing. If you visit the department of the sustainability department, the page of the sustainability department, there's one section about like real-time renewables, where you can monitoring like the solar energy generation. And if you go, for instance, to the first example, which is the transit center real-time solar data, it's telling you like how much energy has been generated today, yesterday, the day before. I mean, on the 23rd, like it was like really rainy and cloudy all day, so it just generated over like 60K of like energy, but today has generated like over 50, I think. So it is a lot, and the trees that have been saved and the CO2 emissions that have been saved, it's incredible. So you can see here in real time like the benefits of what we're doing. I think that's a fantastic way of educating the people about like the benefits of this.
For sure, and one of the great things about these projects is it doesn't just support our renewable energy goal, but also supports our carbon reduction goal, because we're using, in those systems, we're using this on site. Whatever's extra is going back to the grid. And so it's great to have that reduction in our carbon footprint as well as getting towards that renewable energy goal.
Fantastic, absolutely. And well, something that I'm always been curious is like, so we can invite the people to try to do this, right? To try to adopt like technology, solar panels in their own houses. At the same time, realize that we as in the city government, we are also doing this with solar energy. And I imagine that this same apply for other campaigns like the waste food reduction, for instance, right? And the food waste like reduction initiative that we have as well.
Right. So the food scraps drop-off program has been really successful. Again, it shows the appetite that our community has to participate in being a part of the solution and reducing their own carbon footprint. Mm-hmm. So we were able to implement a food scraps drop-off program in which we have 2 locations looking to expand. One at the landfill and one at our Stevens Lee Rec Center, mm-hmm. where anybody can sign up. You can get a tote if you want to save your food scraps, and you can take them and drop them off there, and then they'll be composted instead of going into the landfill.
Great.
We also provide through Greenworks composting at home workshops where people can get the supplies and build their own compost bin. But for those people who maybe live in an apartment complex, have bears, whatever situation that they don't want to, aren't able to have that food scraps on site, this is a great option as well. So, and we've been just thrilled with how many people have taken advantage of it. It definitely overwhelmed our office.
I have to say for the record that I love that you say like, well, people who lives in apartments or to have bear issues, because a lot of bears coming by to your trash can to get in the trash. That's an image that is just sticking in my mind, and I love it. Though I'm frustrated because I haven't got the chance to see a bear yet.
You haven't?
No, I haven't. I saw the news.
Goodness.
Like, it was there. Oh, I miss it. But I assume it's not so beautiful to have it in your backyard, probably.
Probably not. I've seen them in many places, and I think the woods are the best place to see them.
I think the best bird to see is from far away. I love that you mentioned the compost, because in my house we do have a compost, and we use it, not me, but the people in my house use it regularly, and I'm always getting complaints about not throwing the banana peel in the compost but in the trash can. But what are other ways for me to help out? Like if I want to sign up for this to volunteer or to help out the community better, what can I do, and how can someone in the public also join and participate more?
So I think, again, going to that kind of local resources page, on our website, there's a way to sign up if you want to participate in this drop-off. And then most of our community organizations have a lot of volunteer opportunities. And so, just for example, the Energy Savers program that's administered through the Green Built Alliance, that's providing, weatherization opportunities to our low and moderate income families. That's primarily a volunteer basis. Asheville Greenworks does some great jobs with litter cleanups and river cleanups that can be super fun. So there's no short. All of our community organizations welcome volunteers and provide that opportunity. So I think it's just whatever floats your boat.
And you can use that both to see how you can participate, or at the same time, like to manage the way to inform or report an incident, right?
Right.
Remember, everyone, as we always encourage you, to download the app from the Asheville app or call to the 828-255-1122 when you can inform the city about like any issue that might be causing troubles. But so this is really important for us because that let us like to do our work and making sure like streets and everything is working safely on site. But at the same time, we want your input and we want you participating and engaging with us. So please do it. And well, we're reaching out to the end of the show. Thank you once again for listening, and thank you for being here. So trying to wrap it up, how are we? How the city is evolving? You have been in the city for 5 years. The department has been here for over a decade, a little bit more. How we have transitioned, how we have adapted to being more efficient with energy efficient and solar energy and food waste use. Are we improving and people can say like we're better than we were and we certainly are on a path to be even better in the future.
Absolutely. And I mean, you can tell by the initiatives that we've done that we're evolving and that we're moving forward, I mean, we reached our carbon reduction goal by strictly through energy efficiency, up until recently when we started incorporating renewable energy. So that's like an evolution. Mm-hmm. With our waste reduction goal, we went to the triple stream bins, which meant instead of having I don't know if anybody remembers the yellow box that was for paper and the green box that was for cans, and they were just like totes that you put out. And then we went to those big roll carts and you put all your recycling in one cart and that rolls out. So, and now we're having this food scraps drop off to figure out how do we get organics into the mix and not putting less into the waste stream. Yeah. And so I think you can see an evolution. There's always more work to do. Mm-hmm. And we can always go faster, but I think we do what we can. We got to keep doing better.
And people will respond, right?
Yeah, I think that this has definitely been a community-driven effort. All of the goals that have been set by council have bubbled up from our community, and that just shows a real testament to how committed the people who live here are to, making our natural environment good for everyone, right? Our water quality, our animals, our plants, and our people that have to live in that.
Totally agree. So
yeah, no, I do, especially living in Asheville, we have so many forests and trails and just nature around us all the time. It's so important for us to keep that as beautiful, or even more so than it was a few years ago. And I love the commitment and the work your department has put into making Asheville a greener Asheville. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Sam, certainly for stepping in. Thank you, Bridget, for being with us today and for being like a fantastic guest and letting us to know about like all the activities that the city is doing. So thank you for being here. And well, that's the time we have for today here in What's Up AVL. Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to participate in the different projects that we have at the city and stay informed about our latest news. Stay tuned here at WRES 100.7 FM. We will continue with our shows Monday, Friday, and Wednesday at 12:30, talking about like different initiatives of the city. And well, take care of one another, Asheville. See you soon.